Wired and tired. Maybe you've heard that phrase after not getting a lot of sleep. Researchers have found pulling an all-nighter might ease depression, but you need to read the fine print on this. Aisha's at the First Alert Safety Desk.
Yeah, Tammy, just like anything else, there's pros and cons. I've just read over a study by neurobiologists at Northwestern University in Illinois. They say they may have uncovered what creates that punch-drunk effect we get after a sleepless night. After a night like that, your body may be exhausted, but your brain feels jittery or hyperactive, so they wanted to find out why. Researchers used mice for this study. They induced sleep loss in some of those mice, while others got a typical night's sleep. We can't ask mice if they're depressed, obviously, so researchers created a depressed-like state in all the mice before disrupting their sleep. The mice that stayed up all night showed a reversed depressed state. Dopamine is the chemical that gives us that reward response. Researchers say sleep-deprived mice had higher dopamine activity. They say there is a transition in your brain going from depressed to the temporary boost in dopamine, and that gives your brain a chance to reorganize. That brain rewiring gave mice a boost in mood for several days, they found. It gets a lot more involved. Brain science is complex, but that is the short version of what they discovered. Experts say this doesn't mean you should go without sleep in order to ease depression. They say sleep loss in humans leads to health problems, which we've talked about here at the First Alert Safety Desk. Researchers are just doing this to create new depression treatments, is what they're hoping, based off of the area of the brain they saw was affected by less sleep and that boost of that happy chemical dopamine. Coming up in the next half hour, the new study finding 12% of child firearm homicides related to intimate partner violence. We'll talk about what that means and what authors of the study think should be done to stop it. Steve.